Hi everyone, welcome back to Decorate Your Tables with Brenda. I hope you're enjoying these tables and you're getting a few ideas and inspirations for your own tables. Today's table we're going to do a Poinsettia Christmas. Before we start our table we have to make up our poinsettias. So I have a few samples here. You can do them in red, they can be done in like a wine color or pink or white. We're also going to make some napkin rings. Start with the leaves. I just drew these freehand. They're about 6 inches long and about 3 inches wide at the widest part. They don't have to be even on each side. In fact, they look more natural if they're not quite even. Okay, so for my petals, I started out with my large petal. It's about 6 inches long and at the widest point it's about 3 inches wide. And I just drew it freehand and I was just saying that it looks better if it's not exactly even. It has more natural of a look. So once you draw your first one, cut 2 out. Put one aside and that's your pattern for cutting your leaves. Then to get your next set of leaves, you want the leaves to be, or petals, sorry, you want them to be graduate down in size. So it's nice to draw out the shape. Then you can see that yes, it follows the lines, but it's a little bit smaller. So once you do that, cut your second one out and set it aside, and that's the pattern for your second leaf. Then do the same thing, draw around, make it a little smaller to draw your next leaf, and then you can see that they graduate up in size nicely. So cut that out and that's your third leaf. So once you have that done, you need to cut 8 of each size out. You're also going to need like a donut. I just cut this out of cardboard. Cut out the center. The reason you want to cut out the center at the start, if you want to put lights or little flames coming through them, it's much easier to do this at the start. If you decide I don't want to do that, I want to use some beads, you can always cut a little piece of paper out and cover it. But it's very hard to try and cut that circle out after you attach all the leaves. So your next step is you want to take all your leaves and you want to fold them in half. I should say that I use cardstock for doing this because it has a little bit of body. The tighter the fold, the more your leaves are going to stay folded up. So fold them whatever way you would like. And then we take our donut and we start to glue together. So I start gluing by gluing from 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Then, with my glue gun, you just need to glue the bottom. Start filling in the spaces. Okay, that's your first row done. So then you take your next size and then you want to start filling in spaces because you don't want big empty spaces. So you just start gluing. Gluing. As you can see. And then we take our last set. And you can see it's already starting to look like a poinsettia. Take our last set, put them in. Again, go in between the leaves. Okay. So there we have our poinsettia with a little space in the center. So at this point you can decide what way you want to finish off your poinsettia. These are little battery operated lights that I bought at the dollar store. So you can just put a little cluster in the center like this. You're going to be able to hide your battery pack in among the leaves when we start doing that. Another idea I had, little tea-light candles. You can set these in the center. Just turn it on. Little twine balls I got at the dollar store. I think I had them in among my craft things, so anytime you see things like this, just pick them up. But they just took a little space and put it in. And the flickering light on the candle kind of gives it a nice glow. So if you decide, I don't want any more lights on my decorations, you can do with some beads. So this is where you would take your little button, little piece of paper that you cut out, put a little bit of glue on it, and set it into the center. And then everything falls through. So with the red, I bought some little beads. You just glue your beads in. A little bit of hot glue, glue your beads in, and you're done. With the red, I went with white. For the white poinsettias, I wanted red beads in the center, but I couldn't find red beads. So what I actually did was I bought some little picks from the dollar store with berries on them, and just cut the berries off and used those in the center, like this. So that's how we make our flowers. And now I'm going to show you how to quickly make the little napkin rings. Okay, so now we're going to make our napkin rings. So basically it's the same idea, but on a smaller scale. So I started with a little pattern. I made my napkin ring. It's about 2 5/8 long and about 1 inch wide. And I cut 10 of these. Then you need to cut a little circle. And I marked the circle by, I started marking in thirds, and then I marked again in the center. And that gives you 6, because we're going to put 6 leaves on the bottom and 4 leaves on the top. So again, you get your trusty glue gun and start gluing. And then your last 4. And you're not going to fill in all the spots, so just kind of the bigger gaps. Okay, so when you have your little poinsettia, we need to add something to hold the napkin ring. So this again is this vine that I've been using. It's little leaves on a wire. I buy this at the dollar store. Anytime I see it there, I grab a roll off it because it's so handy for so many things. I cut it about 12 inches long, and then I'm just going to glue it right onto the back of the napkin ring, just like this. Hold it down for a second or two, and that's that done. And then we just have to finish off our little beads in the center. I like to do 3 little beads in these ones. It's just a nice size and finishes it off. Place your beads in. There we have our little napkin ring. So you take your napkin, and then you just use your wire to wrap around. And there we have our napkin ring. Okay, so to start this table off, I wanted to use my nice plaid tablecloth because I think it looks very traditional and it works well with these poinsettias. Then I'm going to layer on a runner. And this is actually a piece of fabric I bought at Fabric Land, and it's a nice soft fluffy fur. And it just gives a little bit of dimension to the table. Then we're going to take our pine. This is just wire pine garland that I had down from Christmas. Just make sure all the leaves are all open and out. and set it in the center. So on top of this, I wanted a little bit more sparkle added to it because this can tend to be kind of flat. This garland, the leaves have a little bit of sparkle on them. It has some berries, it has some pine cones. So it's really going to add to our look. Just lay it on top. I bought one row that had red berries, and I bought one that had white because it just gives it a different look. So this is starting to add some dimension to it. Next we're going to add our candlesticks. Start adding your candlesticks. Kind of stand back, make sure it's the way you want it to be sitting. We're going to add our poinsettias. I like to start in the middle. Your batteries are going to fall right down in there. Move your candles around until you get things sitting the way you want them. I usually start with the bigger poinsettias. Now I'm going to add some smaller poinsettias. I'm actually going to use some extra little napkin rings that we made. I'm going to add some smaller ones. So they'll just sit in among the leaves. So to finish it off, I got these little leaves, these little picks from Dollar Tree. They have a nice little sparkle and they're nice and delicate looking. So we're just going to add them in among the leaves. And it's just going to give enough sparkle to finish off the look. So here's our red poinsettia table, but let me show you one more look just by changing the color. Okay, so as you can see here, I've changed out the color of the poinsettias. I left off the runner and it gives the table a completely different look. So you can choose if you want to go with the red, if you want to go with the white, if you want to do a combination of them both, but you can really create your own look just by changing the colors. I hope you're enjoying these tables. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Please hit like and subscribe. And join me next week, we're going to do a winter's Christmas table.